Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. And yeah, back on the Phantasm bandwagon train, whatever you want to call it. Phantasm 4 Oblivion or Phantasm Oblivion or Phantasm Oblivion. He stylized it as Phantasm Oblivion, and then the IV in Oblivion is the Roman numeral 4. Yeah. So, after 2, I was concerned that I pretty much thought that the rest of these sequels were nothing. After 2. Could not get better than 2, which it so far hasn't, and probably won't, to be honest. But I was pleasantly surprised by 3 of how good that actually was. So my hopes were a little bit high with this, thinking, oh, maybe I was wrong. Well, about that. Yeah, I don't know about this one. And even from what I remember of 5, I don't know how the ending of this one connects to that one, considering it took 18 freaking years for that one to come out. I don't know. But following the events of the last film, if you remember where we left off previously on Phantasm, Reg was stuck in the wall with a bunch of the silver balls stuck to him, and Timmy, has been taken through the door, because that's how all those end, except for this one doesn't end like that. But so what happened? Well, the tall man just lets Reggie go, and then Tim is never mentioned once, and then we're just in the desert for an hour and a half. No, literally. I'm assuming that the budget was so low for this movie they couldn't afford to film anywhere. Every single one of these is everywhere in this movie is desert. It's either desert or flashback. There's one scene that's not in the desert really. That's or in a vehicle of some sort. That is in a hotel room that I'm pretty sure was just an abandoned room that they used somewhere, an abandoned building or something. That's what it is, and it's interspersed with flashbacks, which was cut footage from the original movie. And I remember how confused I was when I first watched this and went, "How are they doing the flashbacks? The actors look just like they did in the first. How?" And upon doing research, realizing, oh, that first movie was supposed to be 3 hours long, and there's a lot of cut footage, and so they used it in this. Don't know how well it works considering some of the edits. Like one time, Jodie's like, "I didn't abandon you, I was taken," and it cuts to a flashback of Jodie going in the closet, sniffing a shirt, and then there's a noise, and it cuts back to Mike in the desert going like this, like, "Excuse me, what the hell was that? What was the point of that flashback? No, don't move on with the movie. What the hell was the point of that flashback?" I'm like, because I'm sitting here watching this going, oh, they're actually going to show what happened to him, and it's just that scene, because they didn't actually have footage of what happened. So that's the best they could come up with that scene. And I thought, oh, maybe I should pay attention this time, because the footage of the show could help clear some things up. No, it's really nothing. There's footage of Jodie and Mike driving the car, which probably would have came after the scene where he's like, "Oh, you show me how to drive" or whatever, and yeah. But then they implied this is when the tall man arrived in town. Maybe this was the introduction to them in the original movie. I don't know. There's also an extra scene of where their first plan was to try to hang the tall man, but because Mike is an idiot, he lets him go because he promises to leave, but it doesn't work. So is it after this they come up with the plan to bury him in rocks? Because the shot they show, unless they reuse the shot of him running and trying to trick the tall man, it looks like it was when he was running and made him fall into the mine shaft. But it cut to him being hung with a rope. So, after the introduction, where Timmy is written out by not existing anymore, and Reggie is let go because he is the main star, he can't die. Seriously, there's no reason given. We follow Mike, who narrates flashback stuff. This is what happened previously on the movie, but it's actually Reggie, I guess, that narrates it. I'm an ice cream man by trade. You get the flashback, and he still makes the ice cream man his trade. No, he hasn't had a job since 1979. So, excuse me, 1986, right? Because that's when the second one took place and everything went to hell at that point. I'm assuming he was still working at that point, but anyway. And they barely show stuff from the second one because, of course. So, we follow Reggie on the road in the middle of fucking nowhere because this movie didn't have a budget. So, yeah, he's got his Hemikuda back and he's got the quadruple barrel shotgun. And I forgot to mention this, but at the beginning of the last one, they show that he has it outside and used it on some more Jawas at the beginning during the climax of the second film. Yeah, it's after he gets pulled out of the... attacked by alchemy and knocked out of the car. He's suddenly got the quadruple barrel shotgun back and shoots 4 more Jawas. Or 3 more Jawas. But you're going, bullshit, because he used it once in the house and threw it away. How did he have it there? And now he somehow got it back again despite leaving it on the lawn to chase after them. It's like they said, we gotta keep bringing that back, even though it makes no sense. It's like the car that makes no sense, because he left it abandoned in the last one. I think it was damaged, but he's got it back here. It's on his last legs, it seems like. But and Mike's got the hearse he drove off in the last one. And I'm also calling bullshit on the fact that we're supposed to believe that Mike has been running since the events of the last one. I'm assuming it's been the same amount of time, right? I don't think... Right? Yes? Hold on. I don't remember if it... I remember if it states in the Wikipedia article what... Hurry up! No more. I don't play video game. Alright. That's a franchise. Phantasm 4. Alright. Says picking up where the previous film left off. Mike escapes the Bolton mortuary in a hearse while Reggie is trapped in a tall man's spheres. I'm assuming this has to be the correct amount of time has passed because they've aged since then. Like, they're significantly older. It's been 4 years. So that's had to have at least been 4 years. You're telling me that 2 men running out in the middle of the desert where there's no society can just look the way they are, nice and fine, there's no beard. Mike's hair has grown since the last one, but his face is not. It's clean shaven, which makes no sense to me. And he is on the run from the tall man, but the tall man is haunting him in the hearse. Which at one point, has a casket in it, but then he's sleeping in the back of it, and you're wondering where'd the casket go because they showed it earlier. I don't know. He also is visited by the Jodie Sphere thing, which he no longer trusts because reasons. Although it does kind of make sense that maybe it would turn. I guess, spoiler, it does. It does turn on him. But it doesn't make sense. If it's controlled by the tall man, then it would make sense that it would turn evil. You know, the tall man would be using this. So, the Jodie Sphere was an ally in the last one, but he said, oh, it's calling me. It takes him away, and so he's able to fully control the Jodie Sphere now. Manipulate. Mike, what does he want? He wants something. As hard as heard, the sphere from the last one. You know what? Reggie's on a road trip and he gets stopped by some cops. Which he stops for, and I'm sitting here watching this. I'm going, there's no society. Why would there be a cop to stop you? And of course, there turns out to be a phantasm ghost thingy in an attack. But he blows him the fuck up. So. But he becomes Michael Myers as he walks out of the fire and then falls face first down on the ground. Like, they had to have copied that from Halloween 2. All they needed is Reggie to shoot him in the eyes, and then that's that. But no, Reggie gets back in his car and drives on. He sees a woman named Jennifer driving down the road, getting gas on the road, because they still have gas stations that work, apparently, in this society that no longer exists. But don't worry about her yet. Reggie's gonna keep on going, even though his other brain is saying, "Hey man, get some tail, get some tail." And keep going. So, meanwhile, Mike's in the middle of the desert doing bumfuck anything. Literally, he stands there and we get flashbacks. That's literally all it is. As he stands in the middle of the desert and we get flashbacks of stuff that was deleted from the first film, and they try to shove it into this. That's all they do. Yeah. And then we get some backstory. Apparently, the tall man was not always the tall man. He was a mortician named Jedediah Morningside, who was also a scientist. And I'm just going to go ahead and spoil the whole thing here. He opened a portal to this other world and turned into the tall man. Yes, and at one point, Mike and the Jodie Ball go back to try to stop him. That's later, but yeah. Meanwhile, Reggie, we'll get to this part. Reggie, he comes across Jennifer when she has a bit of an accident, because this is Phantasm. We're gonna have some kind of car wreck. She hits a turtle and flips over, and Reggie saves her. And Reggie, thinking with his other brain, is like, "Hey, let's go to a hotel room, man." And yeah, he tries to go with her, but she's like, "I'm not ready," and she's wearing one of his shirts in bed, and then he has a vision of Mike and wakes up to her boobies gyrating, and he opens the shirt to find they are 2 silver balls. Now, Wikipedia describes this as being revealed that she was one of the tall man's minions. And the first time I watched this, I never got that. I thought, oh, she's a victim. They're eating her boobs or something. They're killing her that way. But no, rewatching this scene, she was working for the tall man the whole time, which is confusing to me. But yeah, the balls fly out, he defeats those, and then what's left of her is now a phantasm herself, and then he defeats that, and then he's back on the road again. At one point, I think he does meet up with Mike just to kind of separate again, I think. Maybe not. But I don't know. This movie is not very good. I'll tell you what, this is about as coherent as I'm going to get. We'll see how coherent my review of the next one is. But eventually Reggie does meet up with Mike, but Mike's like, "Hey, hold on. I got to go." And he and the Jodie Ball go through the little portal thing. By the way, he's been seeing a bunch of portals showing up. At one point, he tries to hang himself, and that's where he has a flashback about how they tried to hang the tall man, but it didn't. And so this is where they go back in time to where Jebediah Morningstar was doing the experiment, and he tries to stab him there, but he's like, "Oh no, we're in a different dimension. You can't do that." And I'm like, "Well, what's the point of going back?" And so yeah, the tall man is born, and they are forced to leave. But then Jody turns on him. He stabs Jody. Means Jody is dead, but Jody fights back, and then he stabs him again. He kills him this time. I don't know anymore, but no, because this Jody Ball is now working with the tall man. The tall man tries to do the experiment, but Reggie comes to save the day, and yeah, but then the ending of the movie gets very confusing. I was so confused by this ending. So Reggie shows up and saves him, but is knocked back on his ass. By this point, by the way, Reggie decides his hero costume is his ice cream man suit. Yeah, he's dressing like that now. But the tall man gets the best of him, and then he takes the ball out of Mike's head and takes off through the portal. So Reggie chases him into the portal. And then we cut to a flashback of Mike being picked up by Reggie in his ice cream truck as they drive off, and the movie ends. What? How is that an ending? I know Coscarelli, he was trying to be ambiguous with some of his stuff. This is one of the most ambiguous endings I've ever seen. What does it mean? I thought, well, it means that Mike has died, and this is his last little, like, Reggie is his hero, going to take him off into the heaven, in an ice cream truck sort of thing. But what does that mean for Reggie running into the portal? I don't know, because they don't follow up on this in the next one. Because it takes 18 years to get to the next one. Clearly they had plans to continue this in, 2000 or 2001, but nothing in the 2000s till 2016. So, yeah, no. No. I would say the Phantasm 4 Oblivion is not worth your time. If you watch 3 and feel like you need to continue to find out what happened, by all means, do so. But you're not going to enjoy it. Not really. I heard people say this is better than 3, and after watching it, I got to ask, how? How do you think this is better than 3? There is nothing to this. A lot of people's complaints, I've heard people's complaints about 3, being like, oh, well, nothing happens. Yeah, what happens in this one? Nothing. They're in the middle of the desert for 90 minutes. And they're incorporating flashbacks. You get a little bit of a backstory for the tall man, but not really. Reggie once again tries to get laid and it doesn't work. Every time that they try to kill the fucking tall man, it doesn't work. At one point, they blow him the fuck up and a new one pops out of the portal. Because, I don't know. I just don't know. And I feel like the next one's going to be even worse for me. Because I remember not liking that one at all. And we'll get to it. But, yeah, it's not worth your time. So, what are your thoughts on Phantasm 4 Oblivion? Leave a comment, you should like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.